I did not know.
Oh, God damn it.
Did I? Oh, I did record it. It is recording.
Yes. Nice.
I just started recording
Also,
on Skype too.
I go to Starbucks like maybe once every 3 months, and every time I do, I'm offended. Like, I get the strawberry refresher, which is under the tea section. So I ask for a strawberry tea, and the guy's like, "You mean a refresher?" I'm like, "Just give me the fucking tea, asshole." You know what I'm asking for.
What is that Paul Rudd movie where he chews out the barista at Starbucks?
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
feel
no,
like
venti is 20. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
My favorite thing is that I got chewed out for saying I wanted a medium a couple months ago at a Starbucks. Or I guess, God, it's probably like 6 months ago now. But yeah, I hate that experience where they're like, excuse me, it's a venti. It's like, I don't give a shit. Give me the medium.
Give me the middle one, asshole.
There's an ice cream shop that did the, like, love it, gotta have it bullshit.
Oh,
Cold Stone.
Cold Stone.
I hated that, too. It's just like, I just want some of it. I've never had it before. I have no idea how much I enjoy it yet.
But Doyle, you need it, and you've got to have it.
Yeah, you
now.
son of a bitch.
True.
Because you were told to.
What are we talking about?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 215 of Thinking Outside the Longbox. I'm Gabe.
Jim.
Doyle.
Juan.
And Mel is in the background, but she can't hear what we're saying because I'm wearing headphones. So, so today we are going to be talking about the Syfy TV show, Channel Zero. We will be talking about the first season because I think that's kind of like the seasons seem kind of independent of one another. So I thought it would be good to just watch the first season because it's like one cohesive story. And we'll be talking about Candle Cove.
It's just like a American Horror Story. It's
we should have talked about the second one. It's better.
Second season is better. I agree.
So
yeah, so much better because I totally watched it.
So I haven't had a chance to get into the next few seasons, but I definitely am going to be watching them because this show is fucking fantastic. Like, genuinely, I was hooked halfway through the first episode of the first season.
There's a demon house in the second one.
Sold.
It's cool.
It's fucking sweet.
The
first season is legit good, though, I thought, anyway.
I thought it was good. I just thought it was... I think maybe it's because I watched the first 2 seasons. I haven't watched 3 and 4. But I think because I watched the first and second season, I thought in my mind that this first season it kind of drug on a little bit. I don't know that they ever explained why the guy is eating teeth. I may have missed that. I know it ends up that the teeth monster thing ends up being the dude, but I don't know why he's just randomly a tooth monster.
I don't think you missed it. I didn't get that either.
It's a crossover from Doctor Who.
Yeah, could if that's a thing, maybe.
With the tooth monster guy.
So I had a personal theory about it, but I don't think they ever explained it. And I do kind of like when TV shows and movies do that because I like I like effectively having the chance to like embrace, my imagination with it. So
it just to me it seemed off because they went, what the fuck is Tim showing us? Some dude in heels? Was he about to do a flip? Oh! That was funny. I like that.
Quick aside.
He turned into a ground beef.
For me, it's hard because like they go into explaining a little bit, but then they just stop. I almost would have preferred it if the tooth monster was like a minion of the dude, and then they didn't explain it. But it's weird that it's the dude, and they don't explain why he eats teeth to be a monster. Like, that's weird to me.
Maybe it's because they're children's teeth, and like he needs like the child to die essentially to sustain him. That's kind of all I was getting. But then again, I don't know why he has to eat the teeth.
So where does this take place?
Where?
In a
the
fictional
show.
town. I think it's fictional anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely just like a nondescript, like probably East Coast-ish town.
Yeah.
Maybe like as far west as like Ohio, just from like the way it looks.
Wow.
Just curious to know why a tooth monster would come to America anyway.
So,
Bro,
I mean,
we have dental.
he didn't go to Georgia. He was in the Northeast. So,
Oh, he's probably all right up there then. New England area.
so
It's definitely not going to take place in England.
Definitely not happening in the South or parts of the Midwest. Parts.
He's a meth/teeth monster.
He's a meth mouth monster. He
that
only
would be
steals meth teeth.
that would be significantly more terrifying. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because he'd be blowing people up.
No, not because he'd be blowing people up. Because you could get like AIDS from his teeth, dude. Because they'd be so gross.
Yeah, rotting teeth.
So Channel Zero is an American horror anthology television series created by Nick and Tosca. The series was greenlit for 6 episodes. It's based off of creepypasta stories. I don't know what creepypasta is.
Oh, really?
No, but it's based off of stories from
Creepypasta originates on Reddit, doesn't it?
Yeah. So originally it was a Reddit thread just called Creepypasta. Or a Reddit group called Creepypasta. And what it is people trying to tell stories that it's like those alternate reality game kind of stories where they're telling a story that takes place in the real world, is maybe based on an urban legend, but presenting it as fact instead of fiction. And so you get things like Slender Man or like Candle Cove actually is a video that got passed around on YouTube as part of a creepypasta. Like there's an original Candle Cove video that's out there that's actually really creepy because it's so like low budget and fucked up. So
my youngest son read something off of that thread, I think, because he's been obsessed with the urban legend monster called Siren Head.
Yeah.
He's like been freaking himself out about it because we live in rural Midwest, so he's like it's out there, I could see it.
Thing. That's a Resident Evil monster, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like the thing from Stranger Things, but it has like tornado sirens for a head.
That's pretty fucking horrifying. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for a good movie to come out about that to watch.
Semi-impractical. I mean, what is powering the sirens? Obviously nothing.
The souls of children, obviously.
Yeah. Duh.
Why do I feel like if the camera was just a little bit further down, we'd have totally seen Gabe's balls just now?
Well, I'm not wearing pants, so yeah.
Where are you? Are you on the couch?
No, I'm in my bedroom.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't see anything familiar here.
Yeah, Mel wanted to hang out, and so I came to the bedroom.
The Guardians of the Galaxy poster next to the Constitution?
It's the Declaration of Independence, but yeah.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, obviously. Those two totally go together.
That's where Nick Cage put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, "There's a map on the back of this." I'm like, all right,
we need to
put it up next to the poster, I guess.
Next time we're there, we
better
need to
hide it in
Green
Greeley, Colorado.
So
what's the actor's name who does the Da Vinci? I know it. I just saw the tip of my tongue. Da Vinci.
Tom Hanks.
There should be a Tom Hanks, Nick Cage, like American History off, like movie.
I'm not gonna lie.
They're both trying to figure shit out. It's like National Treasure Code or some shit.
National Treasure Code?
Tom Hanks is trying to keep it from Nick Cage. Nick Cage trying to find it.
Like, how is it that Dan Brown's books suck so bad, but the movies that they make off of them are actually like really fun to watch? Like, I hate his books so much, but those
because he writes like an 8-year-old.
He does. I like my books to be past the 5th grade reading level, so
I like 8-year-old.
I like an 8-year-old. No, she's 9, so I don't even like an 8-year-old anymore.
Yeah.
So the first season was 93% critic score and 83% audience score. The second season was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe that's just a critic score. and then 100% for the third season as well.
Damn.
So I'm telling you, although I enjoyed the first season, like I said earlier, it felt a little slowly paced to me. If you don't, and again, some of it I'm sure is the way you like it because you don't find out a lot of the stuff until like the very end of the first season, where kind of the second season there's a lot of stuff happening kind of as you're going through each episode. You kind of learn a little bit about each person as you're unfolding the season. And it seems a little bit more creepy to me. The second season did because it's about a crazy house and like it has its own like reality, like its own pocket dimension. It's just crazy to me. It just seemed a little bit more creepy.
No, the second season I do think is, I mean, it feels weird to talk about it, but because Gabe hasn't seen it too, hasn't it? But
no, it's all good.
I think it is more well done because like the second season, I feel like the first episode is just badass. Like you're sold on the first episode. Whereas the first season of the first episode, I did like it and it did hook me on the show, but it wasn't like as deep of a hook as like the second season episode was. Like right off the second season, they're just like, this shit's fucked up. You know, it's fucked up by the end of this episode. Actually, you know, it's like, fucked up like 3 minutes into the episode. You're just like, what the fuck are these white people doing? The house eats their souls and shit.
Like, honestly, that's totally fair. Like, if it has more action, it's faster paced, you know, that is the kind of things that you guys always talk about enjoying. And I always like slow shit. Like, that's definitely going to come up during the Pop Culture Classic, you know.
I'm a fan of slow shit as well. It's not that it's more, I think it slows down, too, the second season. It feels paced a lot like the first season. It's just that first episode is like, you got to see like the way they introduce the house and then the premise of the show is just really like uniquely well done.
Nice.
And like I don't know how to explain it. Really.
I think what's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think what's interesting about what you just said is exactly how I feel about the first season. And, you know, just because I haven't seen the second season, I can't make a kind of comparison.
Sure.
But, I mean, I'll probably end up coming away loving both of them because if it's anywhere structured and, like, designed and, like, filmed the way the first one is, or it leans towards, like, kind of that style, I'm going to love it. Like, because that first season absolutely blew me away. Like, I think I watched the first 6 episodes of it in one sitting. Yeah. Like, it's just that good.
I mean, honestly, too, I watched all 4 seasons, so I liked the whole show. So,
how long are the episodes?
An hour or like the 40 minutes?
Yeah, like 45 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was on Syfy, so it's interesting because it has the commercial break beats, which sometimes take me out of a show, but they're designed in such a way that they were clearly cognizant of people binge watching it after the fact. Like, I think I only really saw like the commercial break beats like 3 or 4 times in the first season.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think for me, the second season, like I said, each episode you kind of learn a little bit more about the house and about the people. And I think that was a lot slower in the first season. And I think that's kind of, I think for me that takes into pacing for me because it really, I enjoyed the first season. I really liked the show. I'll watch seasons 3 and 4. It just felt like it wasn't kind of moving at all too much for me until, you know, we got closer to the end, in my opinion. And that's what I'm saying. There was just a lot of little things that I was just like, I don't really understand what's going on, but it's fine. It was good. It creeped me out. I just think the second season did a better job of that. But yes, Tim is right. We have watched a lot of creepy and horror things in the last month.
Honestly, it makes up.
Sorry.
It just makes up like 70% of what I watch, probably. So
yeah.
Most of my suggestions just run that way.
Pretty much.
My next Pop Culture Classic, also horror tinged.
Like, I'm going to be super honest with you. Probably like 70 to 80% of what I consume for media is also like some form of like horror or gore or grindhouse movie or like weird exploitation film or something insane like that. Especially now that I work at home, like I just sit in my comic room listing stuff on Etsy and just watching terrible, fucked up movies all day. It's great.
I think the reason it falls so much into that category for me of my viewing pleasure is because horror always transcends itself into different genres, like sci-fi or fantasy or something like that. It's usually never just horror.
Right.
So that's why I typically like it. But
the other thing I love
what I need is a Tolkien scale horror movie with crazy levels of, like, I need Dark Souls turned into a movie. I feel like that would be fucking awesome if they did it right and use the horror beats from the game. Like high fantasy with horror. That's what I need in my life.
So here's a little tidbit that may or may not end up being exactly that. The director of Midsommar and Hereditary has said that his next movie is going to be at least 4 hours long.
All right.
It'll just be like weirdly fucked up for 4 hours. Like, he is a weird movie maker. I think that both of those movies are like two of the stronger horror movies made in the last 10 years.
But they
specifically
are
Hereditary.
Fucked. Yeah,
Hereditary is a fucked up movie.
I would say in the last 10 years, the 4 of the top 10 horror movies that have come out have been directed by 2 people. The guy that did Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy, and then the guy that did Hereditary and Midsommar. Like, those 4 movies are like top 10 horror movies of the last decade. Easy.
I agree. And
That's
Mr.
for sure.
Peele is pretty well good as well.
Oh, dude. Yeah, everything Jordan Peele is putting out is fucking golden. I can't wait to see Lovecraft Country. That show's going to be fucking cool as hell.
Yeah, it's on the top of my want list right now.
Right?
I saw a preview for it like a month ago, and then I looked it up, and I was like, why?
Well, yeah. Why is it
Why
not
are you coming out?
Till forever?
Yeah. Why you do me like this?
Do you want to, since we've talked about it, and I'll have maybe Doyle do 3 and 4, do you want to kind of sum up or recap what the first season was?
Yeah. So basically the story revolves around effectively 2 times in one place. In the 80s, there was a string of murders that were occurring while this pirate TV show effectively was hypnotizing and infecting the children of the town. And the show was called Candle Cove, which is this puppet show that is ostensibly about like a skeleton pirate captain and his crew, but really it's drawing these kids to like this effectively point where one of these 2 twin brothers can control them and make them do harmful things to themselves. The other brother ends up killing his brother in an effort to save the town. And then fast forward to the future, it's all starting back up again. And this guy who's become a child psychologist, and he's a father and a husband, is trying to figure out how to overcome an evil that's returned to his hometown, all kind of revolving around this Candle Cove TV show.
Yes.
So the second season is about a house that only shows up for a short amount of time every year, and it shows up in a different area every year. And so somebody sends out like a kind of spooky message to people's cell phones, and it ends up kind of being everywhere. And it kind of draws them to this creepy house, and it's made out to be like a
art installation.
Yeah, but with like a horror theme to it. Yeah. And so people walk in, and one of the guys tells the story of nobody ever making it through all of the 6 rooms that are in this house, and those people who make it to the 6 rooms are never seen again. And you end up kind of finding out throughout the season that the house is essentially like a living being of itself. So it's attracting people to it to essentially take their souls away and feed on them. So they become kind of mindless drones in the neighborhood that encompasses the house's interior. And as you get to that sixth room, which is the neighborhood, it seems like you face different traumas in your life as you kind of move through the rooms. And one of the main characters, her dad committed suicide. And at the end, you find out that it was kind of for a good reason. And you find out a couple things about the people going through it. But it's essentially about a living house.
Nice.
All right. Season 3 is based on like a weird family that has made a pact with a god. And the god has granted them like immortality. So this family has like taken over this town. This town is all the people who have like mental illness and stuff kind of know about it. The police are in on it. They take people, slaughter people, eat people, and offer people up to this god once a year to appease it. And the family, I guess, lost 2 daughters originally when they were like, normal. And they're trying to coax 2 new girls that are sisters that have moved to town to like replacing their daughters, and one of them's on board and one of them's not. It's like kind of like a duo back and forth. It's really, I think their fucking ideas are super unique and like totally different from each other. And then the 4th season is about a girl who, when she sleeps, she can create reality, or her imagination becomes reality. And so when she was a child, she had this imaginary friend that was a contortionist clown that she used to draw. And now as an adult, she's moved back into her old family's home. And whenever she gets emotional or she gets pissed off or she's mad at someone and she sleeps, this fucking clown thing that comes alive like kills people and tries to protect her in a weird way. And it's all like based on her family. It's ultra fucked up as well. But they find it like a door in her basement that was never there. It takes like a whole episode to break into the door, and then once they do, the fucking clown gets unleashed.
Ew, that sounds fucked up.
Yeah, the clown just goes around like murking people, and then it turns out she has a brother who's been like fucking hiding the fact that it's her brother, and he's like also trying to like fuck her. It's a weird show. It's a weird season. But like they wrap up
this show.
Yeah, they wrap up every season in 6 episodes, and every like idea seems like very unique to me. Like I was like, I haven't seen anything quite like this before. So even the first season with the video, like the little pirate video, Muppet video that the kid makes in his brain, like that shit's fucked up and creepy.
Let me see if I can find the original of it really quick.
You know what's weirder is that you don't realize, or maybe that you don't think it's a problem, that your kids are just staring at static on the TV for hours on end.
Guys, still
like that's weird.
Yeah. What'd you say, Tim?
I'd say none. My kids watch creepy shit out on the TV all the time. Yeah. I just walk. I came back from taking Tristan to the skate park, and Kenny was watching some like. He has this like couple of channels on YouTube that he watches that post freaky shit regularly, and this one was like a homemade like found footage clip of like this creepy thing that's like just crawling around in a fucking basement, and then it like comes upstairs and like jumps on somebody that's sleeping, and that was it for the clip. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, oh, this shit's great.
I don't think when my kids get older, if they have a love for horror, I don't think that I'll find that weird. I would find it weird, which it doesn't really exist anymore, I don't think. But I would find it weird if my kid was just staring at a static for 2 hours. Like that would be really weird.
Yeah, a couple of red flags going up right there, for sure.
If you like the idea, like the creepy pasta, whoa, what happened?
Gabe is sharing a screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you like that creepy, the archive thing.
Here, check this out. So this is the original video.
This is what they based the show on?
Yeah.
Well, I think they base every show on something from creepypasta. So there's probably a video for all of these seasons.
Well, there's not videos for every creepypasta.
Or a story.
Yeah, there's definitely a story from the creepypasta Reddit board.
See, so this is the kind of weird shit I came in on to Kenny watching. Like, this happens pretty regularly, too, this weird stuff.
So why doesn't YouTube have a filter when someone uploads something like this that they just go detain that person?
because it's not real. It's just something that somebody made up to freak their friends out, you know?
Oh, no, I get it. That person.
How do you know it's not real?
That person should just be evaluated slightly. More than likely released back into the population, but sometimes not.
Okay, big brother. All right.
It's like patch and release for potential crazy people.
Yeah.
You've seen how Minority Report goes. That is a fucking terrible idea, bro.
That's true. First of all, Tom Cruise would have to be involved.
Yeah, fuck Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is a cop. Ouch.
Everyone keeps coming out fucking Scientologists.
It's literally everything I hate. Tom Cruise and cops.
So
cops already getting a bad rap. Then you want to throw in some Scientology too? Jesus.
Yeah, fuck that.
If you like that premise, there's a super sweet podcast called Let's Not Meet that's taken off of a Reddit board as well. And it's all about like creepy stories of run-ins with like fucking freaks that you don't ever want to meet again.
So
it's very similar.
Am I hearing you right that in order to be successful, I just need to rip off stories that are already somewhere on the internet?
Yes.
Like I pretty much just read stories off the internet.
How is that news? That's been happening for.
He's a very successful podcaster.
We watch somebody else's shit and then we create content.
We talk about it. We talk about the stuff though. It seems like this is literally like verbatim what's going on Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, essentially,
Longbox is.
He has a better voice than us, though. Very methodical.
I mean, and it's not really any different than a comic book adaptation. You know, he's just taking source material and adapting it to a different format.
I understand that, but I can't read a comic book on YouTube. I'll get in trouble for it.
Actually, there is quite a few.
Yeah, there's people that do that. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that you can. I'm not saying you can't physically do it, but the comic book creator can have you taken down. Cause I can't read a J.K. Rowling's book or a Dan Brown book online without possibly the video getting taken down because of copyright.
It is true. I just don't know how people get away with it. Like, who's that? Is a comics historian? He'll tell you what's going on through a comic, but the entire time in the background, the comic is just flipping page to page. Like, you just fucking read it, like while he's talking about it. And then you got not too long ago, I listened to not Ender's Game, Speaker for Truth again, and I just listened to it straight off of YouTube, like audio.
Yeah.
So people do that and don't get taken down, but
right,
they could be taken down, but for some reason they get away with it.
Well, YouTube has like terabytes upon terabytes of video. They can't monitor everything that's up there.
Right.
But a lot of it is covered under the same way, like how I do in Artist Alley. As long as I don't claim to own the intellectual property that I have drawn.
But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true for books and music and videos. Like, because I couldn't point my Skype screen onto a pay-per-view because it would be illegal.
You could show exactly 1 minute of video with no audio, or you can have exactly 1 minute of audio. But the catch is that you have to make remarks on it. That's how reviewers and gameplay and streamers get away with it.
They're literally
as long as you're talking about something, you're like tap dancing. You're like skating right by the line of copyright infringement. I get that.
What I'm saying is it sounds like this other podcast is just reading the stories from Reddit.
Oh, well, people don't own these. I mean, they're just posted to Reddit.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what we need to do to be popular.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
No, then we'll end up like Z2. Ouch.
Yeah. Gone?
Quitting.
Defeated.
Beaten by us.
Flawless victory.
So what's interesting about creepypastas in specific and like that kind of idea on Reddit is that it's a collaborative piece of fiction. So like somebody will come up with an original idea and then other people will post their version of what happened to them within the same story.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
there is a space within that for somebody else to come and like read it, because he can just add to the creation, or just within that Creative Commons like idea, he's not really stealing the idea so much as presenting it in a different format.
Well, that's good. That'll be the argument we use.
Yeah, like, but what's cool is because it's already a piece of collaborative fiction, like there's a lot of space, because nobody really can say I own this thing, because somebody else could say, well, you own this part of the thing, but I wrote this part and this guy wrote this part, and that makes those big kind of like alternate reality storylines that you find on Creepypasta and Let's Not Meet and stuff like that really, really fascinating, because it's basically unowned fiction. There's a website called SCP. I forget what it stands for specifically, but it's this website that delineates the actions of a group that's effectively like the BPRD. Like, they investigate all these different things that happen, and what people do is write articles as like these top secret communications within the group, and they just create new items and new stories and new pieces of fiction within this like world that they've created collaboratively. And anybody that has a cool idea, as long as they've done their research and they're not copying someone else's ideas, can add to that storyline. And that's really, really cool and really fun. And that's why it's a big part of why I like Channel Zero, is because there's an infinite amount of pieces of subject matter that they can draw from and make really, really cool shit out of. Because they haven't even touched like the biggest and most popular creepypastas. They're like digging into like the deep shit for the first 4 seasons. They're not talking about Slender Man or Siren Head or anything that anybody's actually fucking heard of. It's like stuff that they had to dig for.
So creepypasta originated on Reddit. It sounds like. Is creepypasta its own thing now?
It's more like a term that like describes a certain type of like horror fiction that's getting written.
The only reason I ask is because they credit creepypasta. So
right.
Whoever owns or whatever space that is in, I'm sure they got paid.
Probably not.
I'm sure they did. If they hadn't have mentioned them, I would say they probably didn't get paid. But I'm guessing that if you're lifting, even if you're changing it a little bit, I'm guessing somebody got paid for these stories aside from the Syfy channel.
I mean, maybe some random guy owns the copyright to the term creepypasta, but like in general, it's just a Reddit board where people just post, stories and ideas and, create this fictional world. Like nobody actually owns it.
Like, so there is a creepypasta.com. I don't think they own it, but I mean the basic
creepypasta.com.
There are creepypastas, are horror-related legends or images that have been copied and pasted around the internet. These internet entries are often brief, user-generated paranormal stories intended to scare readers. So honestly, they just come from anywhere. But there is a creepypasta.com, but I don't think that means they own these stories. They're kind of like fan fiction.
Yeah, that's a really good way of describing it. It's almost like horror fan fiction.
So I'm curious why they would give credit, because you know how Hollywood is. They're not going to give credit to somebody if they don't have to. You know what I mean? So I'm curious as to why they would blatantly just put it out there that they're stories from a specific location. Because if that was my story, if I was like, well, fuck, I own that story, Juan does, I could probably go after Syfy. If they lifted my story.
Why they thank them. They probably find whoever writes the pieces that they lift and borrow
that's kind
from,
of what I think.
And they might not be paying those people, but they probably do have to secure some kind of permission.
And like honestly, because
that's at least how corporate shit works.
Because of like the nature of the show, and because they're very vocal about where they're drawing their ideas from, it feels just respectful. And Syfy is a channel that isn't exactly known as like a titan of industry, you know. They might still have like a moral code and be like, you know, we are making a metric fuck ton of money off of these people's ideas. We should at the very least thank them.
That would be nice.
NBC owns Syfy. So it would be, in my opinion, and I don't know because I don't know the behind the scenes, but in my opinion, I would assume that NBC would say, if you're going to get these things from a source, you need to go figure it out. You need to go get the permission, because you know how Americans are. We're litigious. And so I just assume that they buttoned up everything so they don't get sued.
Right.
Perhaps.
I assume. I don't know. Maybe they'll get sued.
I hope they do. Not really. I like the show.
Like, I doubt that they would get sued, because it'd be very difficult to pinpoint like who would own the rights to these stories, because people just build and build and build on them. Like, there's even a YouTube channel that I watch fairly regularly called Mr. Creepypasta, where he literally is doing what Doyle's talking about, where he's reading and discussing and going into depth with creepypasta threads. So he's reading like the original story and then subsequent stories and like kind of digging into it. Like, it's interesting. Like, there's a whole different world of fiction that's meant to be real that I don't think existed before, like the advent of like the internet and Blair Witch Project and those kind of like found footage movies, where people are creating really unique content that's intended to like fool people into thinking that it's real, and is still like super, super disturbing. Like, it's really good stuff.
Indeed.
A lot of great podcasts doing that too.
Like Tanis and Black Tapes and stuff like that.
Been redoing Tanis again lately. It's so good.
Right.
Made it back to season 3 again.
So, going around the table, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Tim, we'll start with you, since we know your answer is, I don't know. Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't know.
There you
Maybe
go.
like a thumbs up. Not like you guys liked it, so yeah.
Yeah. Tim, you are a buffoon. No, I'm joking.
Fair. I'm hard out, man. What do you want from me?
I kid.
Been dealing with some real life horrors lately.
That's why you gotta take your mind off it with teeth monsters.
I don't need that kind of stress in my life, dude. As bad as my teeth have been historically.
That was a curveball I was not expecting.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't need that in my life, dude. I don't have many left. I don't want something coming and taking what I got.
No, that's mine. God damn it, that's mine.
I chew on that side, asshole.
Wow.
Oh, man. I feel that statement in a way I don't want to talk about in public. How about you, Doyle? What do you give this?
I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's my favorite horror TV show.
There aren't a lot of good. Well, I don't know. Coming off of the backs of Kingdom and what the fuck was the other one we watched too? Mary Ann. That was really good. But there's
it just doesn't continue. Mary Ann would be very up on my list as well. It just stops, which sucks.
But I give it thumbs up as well.
Sucks all the shit. But yeah.
I definitely give it a thumbs up, and I would say that there's probably a lot more horror television out there that is really, really good that maybe you're just not aware of. Because there's, like, I started subscribing to Shudder, and I watched the shit out of that, and there's a lot of really, really cool stuff on there.
So I know we're running.
I also do that.
I know we're running long, but I think you're right, and I think it's not promoted as much because that's not Like, it's for the same reason that generally, if you're on the edge, you want to get a PG-13 rating as opposed to an R rating, because they won't promote you as much. Not a lot of people tend to go to R-rated movies, that kind of thing. But I think this could be, especially because it's an anthology series, and I know this series kind of came back, I think, not too long ago. It kind of reminds me of Are You Afraid of the Dark? But like each episode is a season. And I really liked that show when I was little because I thought that was scary. I have no idea if it's scary now upon a revisit, but I like it.
I watched it I've watched it recently. It's not.
I like it because it's so not connected, and they're short seasons. They tell a pretty precise story about something creepy, and then you move on.
That's, it's like TV shows like Monsters or Tales from the Dark Side that were out in the 80s and 90s. It's the same, like that anthology style TV series. I missed that, where it's like a one episode story. There was a season of television called Masters of Horror where they gave like really famous horror movie directors like 1 hour long episode each, and they directed like effectively the story they wanted to tell. It was really cool. So oh no, there's a lot of great shit out there. But we should probably wrap this up because we're going a little long on this subject, but we will be back soon. Be sure to,
guys. Come on.
Be sure to check us out at TOTLB.com. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/TOTLB. Find us on YouTube at tinyurl.com/TOTLBtube. And of course, you can always give us a call, give us feedback, let us know what you think. 970-573-6148, the Michael Kirk Memorial Hotline. May his midget loving ass rest in peace. Till next time, I've been Gabe.
I'm Tim.
I'm Doyle.
I'm Juan.
We'll see you guys soon.
El Sunero Numo.